Hi, I am privileged to be able to share this space with you. Welcome to the Faculty of Theology. I'm Professor Chantal Weber. I serve as the program head at the Faculty of Theology, but also one of the lecturers within the domain of practical theology and missiology. Today I'd like to just share with you some of the academic offerings within our faculty, and I hope it will interest you to come and study with us. I think many people ask us, what is theology about? Firstly, I think it's important to note that at Stellenbosch University and in our faculty too, we offer our academic offerings in English and Afrikaans, and also in isiXhosa. Not all modules yet in isiXhosa, but we are gradually introducing that. So as you even see our information today, it will be mixed language, and so we hope that that will also be one reason you'd be wanting to come and study with us. So yeah, theology, simplistically put, we try and divide it into three parts. One, yes, you definitely come and study the Bible. That's what many people kind of get right the first time round. But two, we also look at studying the history and teachings of the church. So we have three departments at theology. The first one is the discipline group of Old and New Testament, and that's where we're going to study the Bible, the Old and New Testament texts. And then we have the discipline group of systematic theology and ecclesiology, and that's where we're going to look at the history and teachings of the church. And then we have the third discipline group, which is my own discipline group, where we look at the practical services in the church, the practices of the church. And so, for example, one of the practices in the church is youth work or children's work, and that's where I specialize in. So you have these three discipline groups that kind of make up what we see as a larger theology offering. But for you, theology is the study of the Bible. Theology is the study of the history and teachings of the church. And thirdly, theology is about the practical service within the church as well. So that's the first thing you'd need to know about where you are coming to. At theology, we offer a few short courses. These short courses are offered through one of our centers called Ecclesia. So the first of the two is really an overview of some basic theological knowledge. So essential theology for ministry. These short courses are mainly for those guys in ministry, ministers already, or lay people within church context, or just people wanting to look into what theology is about, right? So it's a broad overview of the basic theological knowledge. The first one, essential theology for ministry, you focus a bit on Old and New Testament, a bit on our Christian faith, a bit on the overview of church history, and then lastly, just looking at some challenges and opportunities for the church in South Africa specifically. The second short course is around congregational ministry and spirituality. So even in that term, you're now moving closer to what spirituality is, what the spirituality of a pastor or Christian leader could look like. What does pastoral ministry look like? What do we expect a pastor or Christian leader to engage in? And then overarching understanding of congregational life, understanding congregations, the different types of congregations, and so forth. And then lastly, looking at some leadership dynamics within the local congregation. So those are the first two short courses we offer. The second and the third and fourth ones a bit broader. So here you see foundations of technological and academic competency. As you hear, technological and academic competency, we are very aware that not all of us come to the university space knowing how to use technology and how to use a computer. And for some of us, not even being able to read or write according to how we expect here at the academic institution. So this course is really focused on enabling prospective students to function optimally in an academic setting, where technology and academic literacy is really going to be key tools that you need for studying here. So here we look at computer literacy, reading and writing skills, and something like time management. You're going to have a lot on your table, a lot on your plate when you are studying here. And so time management is definitely going to be something you need to navigate through. So that's the third short course. And the fourth short course is called Engaging Youth and Social Justice. So this course is not offered consistently. It's offered actually depending on how many people sign up for it. But this course is about conscientizing and equipping young adults within the ecclesial church space, the faith-based organization space, but also other community spaces when it comes to issues of social justice and our engagement as Christians. So these are 4 short courses offered, but they are offered specifically for those who are wanting to look into coming to study theology. And they are offered within the domain of a center in theology called Ecclesia. So if you're asking questions about it, ask about the short courses that Ecclesia offers. Let's move on to our academic programs in terms of the larger university curricula. So at Theology, we offer 2 core undergrad degrees. The first one is a BTH. It's called a Bachelor of Theology. This is a 3-year program. You don't have to do ancient languages, and by ancient languages we mean Greek and Hebrew, but I'll speak to that a bit later with the BDiv. But the Bachelor of Theology degree is offered in 3 ways. There's a general theology degree. Those are for those of you who are actually just wanting to look in and get a general understanding of theology, or maybe even a theological grounding for someone engaged in community, in the workplace, in society from a Christian perspective. Then you get the Bachelor of Theology, which specializes in youth work. This one has about 10 modules in the program that specifically focuses on children and young people within our context. It's heavily focused on the South African context, but we do engage with global voices as well. And then the other thing about the specialization in youth work is that you are compelled to do some modules in sociology and psychology as well. The third layer of this Bachelor of Theology is a 4-year offering. It's specific to a specific cohort of student, and you'll see that it's called a part-time BTH, which is offered in hybrid modality. What do we mean by hybrid? So it's offered in block classes that you come to, face-to-face lectures. You have 4 blocks of 1 week each per year, and the rest of your time you are spending online with an e-tutor. Can I just say that this specific program is for a specific cohort of student. This is for the student who has been involved in ministry or in community engagement for several years. It's an older student in terms of age and maturity. It's the student who has not gotten the opportunity to study before, but now requires some form of degree. So this one is unfortunately not open to the student coming directly out of matric with no experience at all and wants to study part-time. This is for a specific group of people who are already engaged in community and church context, who are now going to be doing their ministry and the degree at the same time. So that's why it's offered over 4 years, but the same Bachelor of Theology degree. So that's the BTH program. Our next undergrad offering at Theology is the BDiv, Bachelor of Divinity program. This is specific to those people who are wanting to go into full-time ministry within the Reformed tradition. So churches like the Anglican Church, churches like the Dutch Reformed Church, churches like the Uniting Reformed Church of South Africa and the Presbyterian Church, and maybe even the Volkskerk. These churches have specific requirements as to who can be ordained within their ministry context. And this degree is a first level of that requirement. A Bachelor of Divinity degree over 4 years, and here you have to take Greek and Hebrew as part of your offering. You can just imagine if you're going to be grappling with the biblical text more often than most as a minister, you need to get a core grounding as with Greek and Hebrew over 2 years as well. So remember I said the BTH, you don't have to do those 2 languages, but here it's non-negotiable, and that's the core difference between the 2 degrees. So that's our Bachelor of Theology and our Bachelor of Divinity. We also offer a few postgrad programs at Theology. The first is a postgrad diploma in theology. We call it the PG DIP. You could either do it over 1 or 2 years. It's really equated to what other people consider an honors program in other faculties. Now, the nice thing about this is that this degree is also open to people who have studied something else other than theology in their undergrad. So you may have studied to be a medical doctor, or you may have studied to be an engineer, or even a journalist in your undergrad degree. This postgrad diploma is kind of a bridging program for those who want to now shift into a master's or a PhD in theology. So you don't have to have a theology undergraduate degree, but you have to have an undergrad degree to do this postgrad diploma in theology. There's also a second cohort of students in this program. It's also students who come out of the Bachelor of Theology program who now want to do a master's, but you need to first do the postgrad diploma, which is honors level program. Then we have a Master of Divinity. You can hear the term. After you've completed your Bachelor of Divinity, you are required within those Reformed traditions to complete a Master of Divinity program, and that's over a 1 year full-time, and there's classes and lectures involved there too. We also have a Master of Theology. That is for people who want to go the academic route within theology. If you are sure that you want to be a researcher or you want to become a lecturer someday, then the Master of Theology would be for you. There's no structured classes in this program. This is a program where you do some modules independently with a supervisor with you, and then you do a larger research study. So that's the MTH, and you could do it between 1 and 2 years, some over 3, but we'd like to aim for 2 years maximum with this program. And then lastly, our highest degree offering at the university, and so too in our faculty, is the Doctor of Philosophy degree. It's the person who gets a PhD, and here you're really specializing in terms of theological discipline. So you've now decided that you want to become a Dr. Chantal Weber because you want to be in the academy in higher education within the domain of theology. So here you get to do a PhD study on a specific theme and topic and discipline group, and this you do as a research project over 2 to 3 years. So those are our postgraduate programs. Of course, a question we get all the time is, so how do I get in? What are the admission and selection criteria? So if you matriculated before 2007 or earlier, you need to have either a senior certificate with full matric endorsement, or you have to have an exemption certificate from the matriculation board. There's also something called a conditional certificate of exemption from the Matriculation Exemption Board, but this is specific to people who are 23 years or older. So you can see 2007, that's and earlier, you would be in an older category for coming to apply to university. So if that's you, then that's the requirement for you. But if you are coming straight from school, or a year or two after school, or anything after 2008 actually, then you need to do you need to have a national senior certificate which is certified by Umalusi, and your average pass mark for that matric certificate or matric pass needs to be 60%, no less. Okay, so including your ALO, your life orientation mark, 60% average. That means 60% over all your actual marks, not just a few subjects. If you find that you've got between 55 and 60, hopefully leaning more closer to the 60, there is something called an extended curriculum degree or program, and we can then look at maybe accepting you within that program, which is your 3-year program over 4 years, or your 4-year program over 5 years. So that's the admission and selection requirements for coming to study an undergrad program at Theology, and of course with the hope that once you have a degree, you can pursue the postgrad offerings we've given you. That's it from me. I hope it was quite clear. I hope you understand what you need to do to come to Theology, and I hope you have a better idea of what we'll be studying together when you journey with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.